This is Andrew from Graphite Memories, and today I'm going to talk to you about drawing supplies for graphite drawing. And the first thing I would talk about is pencils. You can't draw without pencils. And before you can talk about pencils, you got to talk about graphite hardnesses. Graphite goes from 9B, which is the softest lead, to 9H, which is the hardest lead. And there's an HB lead, which is right in the middle. And when you use a softer pencil, it'll go on a lot faster. And if you use on a harder lead, it'll go on a lot softer and a lot lighter. And you really got to think about it in opacity, not in like it's darker, it's lighter. It's how much of the paper you're blocking. You can put down like a 4B lead, and then you can go over it with, if you want it just like a little bit darker, you can go over it with a 4H lead. It'll make it just a little bit darker instead of trying to get the exact darkness with just the 4B lead. And the first type of pencil is a wooden pencil. It's kind of used in school. Usually they call it a number 2 pencil, which really is an HB pencil right in the middle. And you buy these in a set of like 10 or so, and to sharpen them though, you want to use a special sharpener. This one is for long point. I actually just got it. And you first sharpen it in the one spot, which makes it long, and then you sharpen it in the other spot, and that puts a point on it on the long lead. It works really good, giving you a nice sharp point that'll last a long time compared to other sharpeners. And then next there's mechanical pencils. I have a lot of them in different hardnesses. I like using these for longer stretches of like high detail, so I don't have to keep sharpening to keep that really sharp point. Like if you have like a really sharp angle, these are really nice, especially the 0.3 millimeter. These are the 0.5 ones, and I have those in 4B, 2B, HB, and 2H, and then in the 0.3 millimeter, I have those in 2B, HB, and 2H. And the next thing I want to talk about is paper. And you can see behind me I got 2 different types of paper. Oh, that's a little off screen. So there's really smooth paper called Bristol Smooth, which is this type. And then you have the one that has a medium texture, or it's called the Bristol Vellum. And then there's the drawing paper and the CA grain paper. One of the cheetahs is CA grain, and I don't know if you can see it, but on the smooth paper it's kind of hard to get really dark, where on the CA grain paper it has a little deeper tooth, so you can actually put more graphite on it, and I can get it's almost black. It looks like black, and you can like mix charcoal with graphite. I did a little bit on his nose. If you look on his nose, it looks a little darker, almost as dark as this. I put a little charcoal on it, but I really don't like the look of that too much. It works, but not great. And then when you start drawing on the paper, you want to not put your hand right on the paper because you got oil on your hand. No matter how much you wash, you're going to have some oil from your skin will get on the paper, and that doesn't work so good. The graphite will stick to it and you won't be able to erase it at all if you need to. So you tear a little piece of paper the size of your hand and you put some masking tape on it. You stick that to the side of your hand like this, and then you can put that on the piece of paper like this, and then you can protect your paper that way. But once your drawing gets dark, you start getting like in here, you don't really want to push paper on that. It'll start smudging your pencil. So you get yourself a maul stick. I made this one. You just get a dowel, and then I just taped the paper towel to the end of it, and you stick this like on a bare spot on your, it's called a drawing board. We'll talk about that later. And then you can rest your hand on it and you can work on your drawing without touching your paper and smearing it. And then to tape your paper down, you'll see little pieces of tape. Oh, this one fell. It's low tack tape for artists, and it's just not very tacky tape, and it won't rip out your paper like if you use other tape. Like I have masking tape here for the hand protector thing. You put that on your edge, it's going to rip your paper more than likely. These erasers is what I'll talk about next. Mainly 3 types of erasers I use. There's 2 types, but I got 3 different ones. So there's the click eraser. We got the big one. It clicks out like that, and you just put out enough to where you can use it, and then you can use it like a pencil and erase. And this is my second click eraser, which is really small. It's called a Tombow Mono Zero. It's 2.3 millimeters in diameter, and that's a click one too. You can get refills for these. And then the last type I use is a kneadable eraser, which is an eraser you can put in any shape you want. You just knead it up, and it's basically slightly tacky, and you can either just dab and it just takes off a little bit, or you can make it into like a wedge like that, and then you can make like lines, and it works really good. You can get these supplies just about anywhere now. Really, like Meijer and Walmart, they're really expanding a lot of their art. Like, it's not very big in the first place, but they're expanding it, just a little bit to get people interested. And then after you erase, you'll have what's called eraser boogers on your paper, and you don't want to brush those off with your hand. You get oil on your paper, or you smear your drawing, where you don't want it smeared. And so you got to get one of these hog hair bristle brushes. I use a straight one. They have some that they're just drafting brushes, and they'll have the handle out to the side like this, and you can brush like this. I like the straight one. Next thing I want to talk to you about is blenders. So the first blender I talked about is some felt. You can pick this up at the dollar store. It's it's $1 for a lot of it, and this is good for blending larger areas. Like when if you're gonna do like a monotone background, like it's all the same shade, or even if it's a little blended, like if I was gonna do that here, if I was gonna make this, I would just put down a bunch of graphite, and then I take the felt and I blend it in. And the next one you can use is a paper stump, which is rolled up paper that's in a spiral like this, and then they sharpen the end and make it to a point, and like you could blend it in, and it moves the graphite around and blends it into the tooth of the paper. That's kind of hard to get into with a pencil sometimes. And then the third kind, it's a little bit different than the paper stump, are these paper tortillas, which are just rolled up paper into a spiral like this to a point. Next thing I want to talk to you about are, for my type of layout, when I first draw this out and I first do like the outside lines, I use the grid method, which is you have these grids that are on transparencies, and you put them over your photograph you're working from. You put paper clips on it to hold it to it so it doesn't move, and then you put a grid on your paper. You can probably see little tick marks, and I still got the grid for around the background. So I put a grid over here, a grid on my paper, and I transfer them over using the lines. We'll get to that, teach you that in a different lesson. And then I have, this is the 1/2 inch. I don't know if you can see that. It's really thin lines. I made them myself in Photoshop, and then I took them to Staples and had them print them out on these transparencies. Might be able to see it better back here. And then, so they're really accurate. It only cost me $3. And then I have a 1/4 inch one. And then you also need a ruler to lay out your lines on your paper. And then to do a grid is like on a piece of paper this big. You need a T-square. Ruler's a little small, and they take forever to really draw lines that long, so it's good to get a T-square to do that. Next thing I want to talk about, you need some sort of light, and I like to mainly use window light. Like for this video, I'm just using window light, and it just illuminates it just enough. You know, it illuminates it very evenly, and it's not too bright. And then the second type of light I use is this desk lamp, and I have it on a stand. Here, I'll move the camera so you can see. You can see it's my own stand I made. And then I was trying to look at diffusers, and diffuser lamps are kind of expensive. So I was playing around, and I found out that a plastic grocery bag works great as a diffuser. And I like to keep it up high and not too close to my work, else it doesn't illuminate it very evenly.